In today's video, we're tackling a critical question facing every American. Is it actually possible to lose your U.S. citizenship? From voluntary renunciation to government-led denaturalization, we'll break down the legal pathways that could strip your status and show you how it could happen faster than you think. Welcome to Legal Lens USA, where we unpack the facts behind borders, citizenship, and the laws that shape lives. This is essential information, so let's find out. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to us. Today's topic is something most people, citizens and immigrants alike, rarely think about, but absolutely should. Many Americans believe that once you become a U.S. citizen, your status is permanent, locked in, untouchable. You've got the passport, the voting rights, and all the legal protections. Game over, right? Wrong. The truth is, citizenship in the United States, whether by birth or naturalization, is powerful, but not bulletproof. There are legal mechanisms, active government processes, and real-world cases happening right now that prove your U.S. citizenship can be taken away. In this video, we're going to unpack the complex legal framework, share some jaw-dropping real-life examples, and walk you through the quiet but very real government system responsible for something called denaturalization. So, before you assume your U.S. passport guarantees lifelong protection, stick with us until the end. Let's begin with the basics. Who's a U.S. citizen? There are two main categories: citizens by birth, people born on U.S. soil, including territories like Puerto Rico, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, or born abroad, to at least one American parent. Naturalized citizens, those who weren't born Americans, but went through the immigration and naturalization process to earn citizenship. Both groups enjoy full rights under the Constitution. They can vote, hold a U.S. passport, and receive federal benefits. But here's the critical distinction. When it comes to taking citizenship away, the government views these two groups very differently. Natural-born citizens are almost always protected under the 14th Amendment unless their citizenship was obtained through fraud. Naturalized citizens, their status is the result of a legal process, meaning it can be legally reversed if that process was compromised. Let's begin with the easiest way to lose your citizenship: voluntary renunciation. This is a formal process. You can't just post about it on Twitter or send a letter. You must appear in person at a U.S. embassy or consulate in a foreign country. You'll sign an official oath of renunciation acknowledging that you fully understand the consequences. There's also a hefty fee over $2,000 as of 2025, and perhaps most importantly, it's permanent. Once you renounce, you lose your passport. You lose your right to vote. You lose access to federal benefits like Social Security. And if you want to return to the U.S. in the future, you'll need a visa just like any other foreign national. So, who actually does this? Thousands of Americans living overseas choose to renounce their citizenship each year. Some do it for tax reasons, especially because the U.S. is one of the few countries that taxes based on citizenship, not just residency. Others renounce for political, personal, or lifestyle reasons, often because they've committed fully to life in another country, but once it's done, there's no going back. Now, let's get to the part that shocks most people. What about those who never wanted to give up their citizenship? Can the U.S. government forcibly strip it away? The answer, yes, absolutely. It's called denaturalization, and while rare compared to voluntary renunciation, it's happening more often than you think. Each year, dozens and sometimes hundreds of cases are opened by the Department of Justice. A naturalization occurs when the government determines that someone never should have been granted U.S. citizenship in the first place. The most common reason, fraud or misrepresentation during the naturalization process. This could mean failing to disclose a criminal history, using a false identity, hiding military or political affiliations, concealing involvement in human rights abuses. And here's the kicker. There's no statute of limitations on this. It doesn't matter if you became a citizen 5 years ago or 25. If the government uncovers fraud later, they can move to revoke your citizenship. Let's look at a few real-world cases that prove this isn't just theory. Example 1. A Bosnian man living quietly in the U.S. had his citizenship stripped after it was revealed he participated in war crimes during the Yugoslav Civil War, something he intentionally failed to disclose during his immigration process. Example 2. A former Nazi concentration camp guard who had lived in the U.S. for decades lost his citizenship and was deported after his past was uncovered. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a legal trend that stretches back decades, and fraud isn't the only trigger. Here's another pathway to denaturalization. Associations with organizations hostile to the United States. If within 5 years of becoming a citizen, you join a group that advocates for the violent overthrow of the U.S. government, serve in a foreign military that's hostile to the United States, or take a significant position in a foreign government without U.S. approval, these actions can prompt the government to re-examine your naturalization file. Even if you never engaged in violence yourself, your association alone can raise red flags. The legal argument that your original application for citizenship was made under false pretenses. Let's talk about dual citizenship, something millions of Americans have. Is it allowed? Short answer, yes. In many cases, you can hold 2 passports, say one from the US and one from Canada or the UK, without automatically putting your citizenship at risk. But there's a big caveat: intent. If you obtain foreign citizenship with the goal of relinquishing your US citizenship or swear exclusive loyalty to another nation, you could be at risk. For example, did you take a high-ranking role in a foreign government? Did you take an oath that explicitly rejects allegiance to the US? Did you engage in political activity that undermines U.S. sovereignty? These aren't just philosophical questions. They're legal criteria that the government can and does use in court. Now let's talk about the most extreme and thankfully rarest scenario: treason or rebellion. If you commit treason against the U.S., engage in armed rebellion, or act as an agent of an enemy government, you could face citizenship revocation on top of criminal charges. These cases are exceedingly rare, but the laws are on the books and have been used. Loss of citizenship in these cases isn't just symbolic. It's a full legal process that follows conviction in federal court with appeals and intense judicial review. Here's something most Americans don't know. The Department of Justice actually maintains an entire denaturalization section within its civil division. They work closely with Homeland Security and IC, using everything from biometric databases to AI algorithms to audit immigration records and identify fraud even in cases decades old. If something suspicious is found, a formal case is filed in federal court. You have the right to a lawyer. You can present evidence, but if the government proves its case, you lose your citizenship, you lose your passport, you lose your right to vote, you become deportable, not a green card holder, but a removable alien. What about people born in the U.S.? In almost all cases, you're protected by the 14th Amendment. Your citizenship is rock solid. However, there is a rare exception: fraudulent birth records. This includes fake hospital documentation, false claims of parentage, birth tourism scams. These are incredibly difficult to prove, but the government has challenged citizenship in very specific fraud rings involving organized immigration scams. So, what ties all of this together? Intent, deception, fraud. The U.S. government can't just take away your citizenship on a whim. There must be clear and provable evidence that you gave it up voluntarily or obtained it illegally. The burden of proof is high, but once the government clears that bar, the results are final and irreversible. So here's the bottom line. U.S. citizenship is one of the most powerful legal statuses in the world. It comes with rights, protections, and privileges that millions dream of. But it also comes with responsibilities, and yes, vulnerabilities. If you're a citizen, naturalized or born here, know your rights, but also know the law. Because when it comes to citizenship, what you don't know can cost you everything. This is Legal Lens USA, bringing you global insights and deep dives into the policies that shape our lives. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment below with your thoughts, questions, or experiences with U.S. immigration. Thanks for watching.